Grandpa's hands trembled as he gripped the edge of the old wooden chair, its legs creaking under his weight. The morning sun streamed through the kitchen window, illuminating the scattered breakfast dishes, but the warmth of the light did nothing to chase away the icy tension that had filled the room overnight. His son, Armand, stood near the doorway, jaw tight, eyes fixed on something invisible, while Lila, the daughter-in-law, leaned against the counter, arms crossed, voice sharp and cold. "This isn't your home anymore," she said again, each word like a hammer against Grandpa's chest. He blinked, as if waking from a nightmare. What do you mean?" he asked, though his voice cracked. Armand said nothing, just looked away, unable or unwilling to defend the man who had raised him. Grandpa's mind raced back to the days when this house had been full of laughter, when he would come home from work to the smell of spices and the sound of Armand running to hug him. That home no longer existed. It had been replaced by silence, judgment, and walls that seemed to close in around him. A crash from the living room made him flinch. Lila's high heels clicked as she walked past him, leaving him frozen, alone in a space that no longer felt like his own. And then he noticed it, a small folded note left on the table. The handwriting was unmistakable, but the words were not. "Pack your things. We will handle the rest." Grandpa's heart raced. Who had left it? And what rest did they mean? As he reached for the note, his phone buzzed violently. A message from an unknown number. "You're running out of time."
Grandpa's hands trembled as he gripped the edge of the old wooden chair, its legs creaking under his weight. The morning sun streamed through the kitchen window, illuminating the scattered breakfast dishes, but the warmth of the light did nothing to chase away the icy tension that had filled the room overnight. His son, Armand, stood near the doorway, jaw tight, eyes fixed on something invisible, while Lila, the daughter-in-law, leaned against the counter, arms crossed, voice sharp and cold. "This isn't your home anymore," she said again, each word like a hammer against Grandpa's chest. He blinked, as if waking from a nightmare. What do you mean?" he asked, though his voice cracked. Armand said nothing, just looked away, unable or unwilling to defend the man who had raised him. Grandpa's mind raced back to the days when this house had been full of laughter, when he would come home from work to the smell of spices and the sound of Armand running to hug him. That home no longer existed. It had been replaced by silence, judgment, and walls that seemed to close in around him. A crash from the living room made him flinch. Lila's high heels clicked as she walked past him, leaving him frozen, alone in a space that no longer felt like his own. And then he noticed it. A small folded note left on the table. The handwriting was unmistakable, but the words were not. "Pack your things. We will handle the rest." Grandpa's heart raced. Who had left it, and what rest did they mean? As he reached for the note, his phone buzzed violently. A message from an unknown number. "You're running out of time." He ran inside, the floorboards groaning under his weight. The kitchen was empty, but the living room told a different story. Furniture overturned, a vase shattered on the floor, petals scattered like tiny graves. And there, at the center, stood Armand, holding his mother's old photograph, eyes wide with disbelief. "Grandpa, I don't know what's happening," Armand stammered, the weight of indecision pressing down on him. Layla's voice cut through the chaos, cold and unyielding. "You've had your time here. This house belongs to us now." Grandpa took a deep breath, his mind racing. There had to be a reason, something hidden behind the anger, behind the cruelty. But what? And more importantly, what would happen next if he stayed? A sudden sound from the basement made everyone freeze. A low, guttural growl, followed by a thud, as if something, or someone, was moving in the shadows below. Grandpa's pulse quickened. He hadn't heard that noise before. And then the basement door creaked open on its own.
Armin stepped back, fear etched across his face. "Grandpa, maybe we should call someone." "No," Grandpa said firmly, his voice steadier than he felt. "I need to see this for myself." He descended the basement stairs cautiously, each step groaning under his weight. The light was dim, the shadows thick, but he could make out shapes, old trunks, boxes, and a figure. It moved. Grandpa froze. The figure turned slowly, revealing a face he recognized from decades past, someone he thought was long gone. The man's eyes held secrets, pain, and warnings. "You shouldn't have come here," the figure whispered, voice low but filled with authority. Grandpa's mind spun. Who was this man, and why was he here now, at the precise moment everything in Grandpa's life had started to collapse? The basement light flickered violently, plunging them into darkness for a heartbeat. When it returned, the figure had vanished. Only the faint sound of footsteps echoed in the shadows.
Grandpa stumbled backward, heart pounding, the leather-bound book still clutched in his hand. He raced up the stairs to find the house empty. Layla's voice was gone, Armin's figure nowhere to be seen. Then he heard it, a whisper from the hallway, soft, chilling. "He knows, and now you will pay." The walls seemed to close in. The note, the messages, the basement, everything pointed to a single truth. Someone was orchestrating events to push him out, to make him feel powerless in his own home. And worse, the realization hit him like a hammer. He wasn't just fighting for a house anymore. He was fighting for his family, his legacy, and the secrets that had been buried for decades. The phone buzzed again. Another message. "Midnight. Be ready, or lose everything." Grandpa's hands shook as he stared at the screen, the weight of the warning sinking in. Midnight was just hours away, and he had no idea what awaited him. Grandpa spent the next few hours pacing the living room, the leather-bound book open on the table, its cryptic entries staring back at him like a riddle he had no key for. The messages, the whispers, the mysterious figure in the basement, it was all connected. He could feel it. Midnight loomed, its shadow stretching across the walls, casting the house into uneasy twilight. Each tick of the old grandfather clock sounded like a countdown, echoing the ominous warnings. Grandpa knew he had to act, but what could he do alone? Armin was missing, and Layla, she had made her intentions clear. A sudden knock on the door made him jump. Heart racing, he peered through the peephole. No one, just the empty street. But on the welcome mat lay a small envelope, sealed with wax. Inside, a single photograph. Grandpa as a young man, smiling beside a woman he had loved and lost decades ago. On the back, in unfamiliar handwriting, "She remembers, and she's coming." A cold shiver ran down his spine. Was this a threat or a clue? And who was she? The whispers from the basement, the shadows, the book, it all seemed tied to a past he had long tried to forget. Then faint footsteps on the stairs, slow, deliberate. Someone or something was upstairs, and it was getting closer.
Grandpa grabbed an old cane from the corner and crept toward the stairs. The footsteps stopped. Silence. The air felt thick, oppressive, as if the house itself were holding its breath. A shadow flickered across the hallway. Grandpa's pulse raced. He whispered, "Who's there?" But no reply came. Suddenly, the lights went out completely, plunging the house into darkness. Only the dim moonlight from the window lit the room. And then he heard it, a soft giggle, high-pitched, familiar, yet impossible. His mind raced back decades. His granddaughter, little Amina, who had been sent to live with relatives after a family dispute. But Amina was hundreds of miles away now. How could she be here? A thump came from the living room. The book, he had left it open on the table, was now closed, lying face down, pages fluttering. Grandpa's hands shook as he picked it up again. A new page had appeared, written in fresh ink. Find her before they do. Before he could react, the front door slammed shut violently. The locks clicked automatically. Grandpa's breath caught in his throat. Whoever, or whatever, was orchestrating this was no ordinary intruder. He ran to the basement, the source of all earlier chaos. The door, which had been closed, now stood wide open, a faint light flickering within. The growl, the footsteps, the cryptic figure, it all pointed here. Cautiously, Grandpa descended, cane tapping on the stone steps. At the bottom, the air was cold, damp, and smelled of old earth. And there she was, Amina, eyes wide with fear, huddled beside a trunk. "Grandpa, they're coming for me," she whispered. "Who? Who's coming?" he demanded, his voice cracking. Before she could answer, a shadow moved across the wall, tall, looming, faceless. The basement door slammed shut behind them, plunging them into darkness. Grandpa held Amina close, heart hammering. He could feel the presence around them, something alive, watching, waiting. Then a voice echoed, chillingly familiar from somewhere above. "You should have stayed out of this." The leather-bound book fell from Grandpa's hands. Pages flapped wildly, stopping at a diagram of the basement, a hidden compartment beneath the floorboards. He looked down. Sure enough, a faint outline of a trap door appeared. Amina's grip tightened. "Grandpa, what is that?" He bent down, prying open the boards to reveal a small locked chest. The growl returned, louder, closer. Grandpa's hands fumbled with the old key hanging from his neck, a relic from his long-forgotten adventures. The chest clicked open. Inside lay a bundle of letters, old photographs, and a small, intricate pendant glowing faintly. The pendant pulsed, as if alive, sending a shiver down Grandpa's spine. Suddenly, footsteps upstairs, heavy, deliberate, followed by a door slamming. The house seemed to groan in warning. Grandpa lifted the pendant. A whisper brushed past his ear. "The truth will cost you more than your heart." Suddenly, a window shattered. Cold night air rushed in, scattering papers. Grandpa spun around. Outside, a figure in black stood on the lawn, motionless, watching. A storm began, lightning flashing across the sky, illuminating the intruder for brief seconds. Amina clutched his arm. "Grandpa, they're outside. What do we do?" He realized the warnings, the messages, and the shadowy figure were not random. They were part of a plan, and he and Amina were at the center. Every step he had taken, every choice had led them here. Then, a text buzzed on his phone. "Stop them, or lose everything." Grandpa's eyes met Amina's, determination hardening his features. This was no longer about a house or even family. This was a battle for survival and for the secrets that had been buried for decades. As the storm raged outside, the intruder moved closer, and the basement door creaked open behind them.
The basement door groaned as it opened wider, revealing a shadowed figure stepping in. Grandpa held Amina tightly behind him, every muscle tense. The figure moved slowly, deliberate, as if savoring their fear. "Who are you? What do you want?" Grandpa demanded, voice trembling but firm. The figure's face remained hidden in darkness. A low, guttural laugh echoed, reverberating against the stone walls. "You've meddled too long," the voice hissed. "Some secrets are meant to stay buried." Grandpa's gaze fell to the chest and the glowing pendant. He realized that everything, the book, the messages, even Amina being here, was connected to this figure and the pendant's mysterious power. Suddenly, the lights flickered and went out entirely. The room plunged into darkness. The last thing Grandpa heard was a whisper. "Choose wisely, or lose more than your heart." The basement was pitch black, but Grandpa could sense the figure moving closer. He fumbled for a flashlight, finally flicking it on. The beam illuminated the figure, no longer faceless. The eyes were cold, piercing, familiar. Grandpa froze. He recognized the man. It was his old rival, Karim, a friend turned enemy from decades ago, thought long dead. Karim's lips curled into a sinister smile. "You shouldn't have returned," Karim said, voice dripping with menace. "Everything you hold dear, I will take it." Amina whimpered behind him. Grandpa stepped in front of her, raising the pendant. Its glow intensified as Karim approached. "You don't understand," Grandpa said, voice steadying. "This pendant, it's not just jewelry. It holds the truth, and I won't let you corrupt it." Karim rasped, a sound that chilled Grandpa to the bone. "The truth? You have no idea what you're holding, and soon it will be too late." Suddenly, a heavy crash sounded from upstairs. Lila's voice screamed, followed by shattering glass. Grandpa realized the house was under siege on multiple fronts. Grandpa grabbed Amina's hand and bolted toward the stairs. Karim blocked the way, eyes glinting with menace. "You can't escape," he hissed. "Not tonight." But Grandpa remembered something. The hidden trap door under the living room rug. With one swift motion, he ducked toward it, Amina following. Karim lunged, but Grandpa slammed it shut just in time. They descended into a narrow tunnel beneath the house. Dust and cobwebs coated the walls. The pendant pulsed like a heartbeat, guiding their path. "We have to find the other side," Grandpa whispered, voice low but determined. "It's the only way out." Footsteps echoed above them. The house seemed alive, reacting to every movement. And then a muffled voice called from the tunnel's end. "Grandpa, help me!" Grandpa's heart skipped a beat. The voice was unmistakable. Arman. His son was trapped somewhere in the house, possibly in danger. Panic surged through him. "We can't leave him," Grandpa whispered to Amina. "We have to save him first." The tunnel widened into a small chamber filled with artifacts from Grandpa's past adventures. Old journals, maps, and trinkets cluttered the floor. But at the center was a carved wooden door, slightly ajar. A dim light leaked through. On the other side, he could hear muffled cries and a struggle. Grandpa pressed his ear to the door, realizing Arman was tied up inside. Before he could push the door open, a shadowy hand reached through the crack, grabbing the pendant. The room shook violently, as if the house itself resisted their presence. Grandpa yanked back with all his strength, but a booming voice thundered above. "Time is running out. Make your choice, or lose everything."
With one final heave, Grandpa pulled the pendant free. The light blazed, momentarily blinding everyone. The shadow retracted, and the wooden door creaked open, revealing Armon, bruised but alive, glaring at his father with mixed relief and anger. "Grandpa, what's happening?" Armon asked, voice trembling. "We don't have time to explain," Grandpa said urgently. "Someone is trying to destroy this family, and the secrets I've protected for decades." Suddenly, a deafening crash came from the basement. Dust fell from the ceiling as a figure appeared at the bottom of the stairs. Layla, her face pale, eyes wide, holding a heavy metal rod. "You're not leaving," she hissed. "Not tonight." Grandpa's grip on the pendant tightened. He realized that every ally he thought he had, every family member he trusted, could now be an enemy. And worse, the real danger was yet to reveal itself. The house trembled as lightning struck outside. A shadow moved behind Layla, larger, darker, impossible to ignore. Grandpa's pulse raced. He knew the real threat was closer than ever.
The shadow behind Lila moved with unnatural speed, stretching across the walls like liquid darkness. Grandpa tightened his grip on the pendant, its glow intensifying, bathing the room in a ghostly light. Lila's eyes widened in terror. What is that?" she whispered. Grandpa didn't answer. He could feel the energy, the force pressing down on the house, the family, their very lives. This was no ordinary threat. He realized with a cold dread that the basement figure, Kareem, and even Lila were all pieces in a larger, more sinister puzzle. Lightning cracked the sky, illuminating the looming shape, a humanoid form, yet larger, impossibly fast, and silent. It lunged toward them, and Grandpa instinctively raised the pendant. A blinding flash erupted, knocking everyone back. Amina screamed. The shadow vanished momentarily, only to reappear closer, surrounding them like a storm. Grandpa knew they had only seconds to act or risk being consumed by the darkness. Grandpa scrambled, dragging Amina and Armand toward the hidden tunnel. The walls of the house shook violently with every heartbeat, as if the building itself were alive and resisting them. Dust and debris fell, filling the air with choking clouds. "Keep moving," Grandpa shouted. "The pendant will guide us." The trio ran through the narrow tunnel, the pendant's light pulsing faster with each step. Armand glanced back nervously. "Grandpa, will it stop it?" "I don't know," he admitted, "but it's the only chance we have to survive and uncover the truth." Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled. A hidden mechanism released, and the tunnel began to collapse. Rocks fell, sealing part of the passage. Grandpa barely managed to pull them through a smaller opening, leaving the rest of the tunnel buried forever. As they emerged into a secret chamber beneath the garden, the whispers returned. "Time is almost gone. One choice remains. Choose wisely." The secret chamber was filled with relics from Grandpa's life. Old maps, journals, and mysterious artifacts collected from decades of adventure. In the center sat a small pedestal, engraved with intricate symbols that glowed faintly in the pendant's light. Grandpa approached cautiously. This is it," he murmured. "The treasure of the Elder." Amina and Armand watched in awe as he placed the pendant on the pedestal. The glow intensified, revealing a hidden compartment beneath. Inside lay documents, letters, and a small, ornate box. Grandpa opened the box slowly. Inside was a key, ancient, mysterious, engraved with symbols he didn't fully recognize. A sense of urgency gripped him. The messages, the shadows, the chaos outside, it all pointed to this key as the solution to everything.
Suddenly, the ground shook again. From above, a dark silhouette appeared in the opening of the chamber, blocking their only escape. The voice of Kareem echoed, "You found it, but you'll never use it." Grandpa's mind raced. He realized the key wasn't just physical, it was symbolic. The family's trust, his legacy, and the secrets of the house were all intertwined with it. Kareem stepped closer, eyes glinting with malice. "Give it to me, and perhaps I'll spare them," he threatened, glancing at Amina and Arman. "No!" Grandpa shouted. "This isn't for you. It's for our family, for the truth." The pendant pulsed violently, emitting waves of light that caused Kareem to stumble backward. The chaos walls vibrated, shaking loose stones and debris. The shadowed figure outside joined the chaos, stretching into the chamber like a living storm. Grandpa realized they had to act immediately. The key had to be used, but how, and before the darkness consumed them all? Amina clutched his arm, whispering, "Grandpa, what do we do now?" Before he could answer, the shadow reached for the key, and a surge of energy knocked them to the floor. The pendant's glow began to flicker, and then a voice rang clear. "Use the key, or lose everything!" Grandpa leapt to his feet, seizing the key. Its weight felt heavier than metal, laden with history, power, and responsibility. He inserted it into the pedestal, trembling with anticipation. A thunderous rumble filled the chamber. The ground split open beneath Kareem, sending him staggering backward. The shadow writhed violently, almost in pain, recoiling from the pendant and key combined. Amina and Arman held their breath. The light from the pendant surged, connecting with the symbols on the pedestal, illuminating ancient markings on the walls. For a moment the chaos paused, a calm in the storm. But then a low, terrifying growl echoed from the darkness, louder than anything before. The shadow had not been defeated, it had only been delayed. And a new figure emerged from the corner of the chamber, one Grandpa never expected. Lila, eyes wide, but trembling, holding something in her hand. The pendant's glow faltered, and Grandpa realized that the final confrontation was about to begin. Would their family survive the night, or would the secrets claim them all?
Layla stood frozen, the object in her hand trembling. It was a family heirloom, a locket, long thought lost, that connected her to the secrets Grandpa had protected for decades. Her face softened, fear and realization replacing the anger that had consumed her. "Grandpa, I didn't know," she whispered. Before he could respond, the shadowed figure roared toward them like a living storm. The pendant on the pedestal pulsed fiercely, and Grandpa knew the time for hesitation was over. He grabbed Amina and Arman, shielding them as the darkness advanced. The chamber shook violently. Dust and debris rained from the ceiling. The light of the pendant grew blinding. With a deep breath, Grandpa raised the key high above the pedestal. This was it, the moment that would decide everything. He turned the key. A hidden mechanism clicked, and the pedestal split open, revealing a brilliant crystal radiating warmth and light. The shadow recoiled, shrieking, its form destabilizing under the pure energy of the artifact. Amina's eyes widened. "Grandpa, it's working!" The crystal's light spread through the chamber, touching every corner, revealing inscriptions on the walls, messages from elders, ancestors warning and guiding future generations. The pendant's glow fused with the crystal, creating a protective shield around the family. Kareem, now visibly weakened, tried to lunge again, but the crystal's energy repelled him. He fell to his knees, screaming, as the shadows around him dissolved into nothingness. The air grew calm. The storm outside subsided. Grandpa's chest heaved with exhaustion, but relief flooded him. This was the turning point. Layla stepped forward, holding the locket tightly. Tears streamed down her face. I didn't understand before, Grandpa. I thought I was protecting the family, but I was part of the problem." Grandpa nodded slowly. "It's never too late to make things right. That's the lesson."
Armand moved closer, placing a hand on his father's shoulder. Dad, I see it now. Everything you've done, all the secrets, all the sacrifices, it was for us. The crystal's light dimmed, settling into a gentle glow. The family stood together, bruised and shaken, but stronger. The darkness had been defeated, the truth revealed, and the legacy preserved. Yet Grandpa knew that lessons learned in fire were never forgotten. They emerged from the secret chamber into the quiet house, now still and peaceful. The damage remained, but the threat had passed. Grandpa walked through each room, memories flooding back, the laughter, the tears, the moments that had defined their family. Amina clung to his arm. Grandpa, will it ever come back? He shook his head gently. No, but it doesn't matter. The real treasure isn't the pendant or the crystal. It's us, together, and the lessons we carry forward. Suddenly, a final message appeared on Grandpa's phone. He opened it with caution. You chose wisely. The legacy continues. A wind blew softly through the house, carrying with it a sense of closure and the faint scent of incense, as if the elders themselves had blessed them. Grandpa stood on the porch, the morning sun breaking through the clouds. His family gathered around him, Armand, Amina, and even Layla. The house, though battered, felt like home again. He held the pendant and the key in his hand, symbols of the journey, the battles fought, and the wisdom gained. The struggles of the night taught them all a profound lesson. Power and legacy are meaningless without love, trust, and unity. Home isn't just a place, Grandpa said softly. It's where your heart is, and where you protect the ones you love. Layla nodded, eyes glistening. I understand now. We'll protect it, together. Grandpa smiled, feeling the weight of decades lift from his shoulders. The treasure of the elder wasn't the crystal, the pendant, or even the secrets. It was the bond of family, forged through trials and darkness, and now stronger than ever. As the sun rose higher, the family embraced, the house no longer a place of fear, but a sanctuary filled with love, lessons, and a legacy to pass on. And Grandpa knew, with certainty, that no darkness could ever take that from them again.